in the records screen now, besides the usual mission list and campaign records, I now have a versus records screen. So this will track what you do only in the versus mode. You have the total number of matches that each tank has been in, what percentage of use that is, how many tanks this normal tank has destroyed. It's destroyed 11 tanks total, 6 of which were normal tanks as well, and 5 of which were missile tanks. The normal tank has won 12 matches, which is 27% of all the tanks. And then some minor changes to the campaign mode. I've added little images to each of the upgrades. They're pretty simple, like this is just a bullet bouncing off of a surface. This is a bullet getting bigger for the power. And reload time, I have got multiple bullets going by with a little stopwatch and a minus sign. Hopefully that communicates what I'm trying to do. If I want to reload, I've got an armor, which is just a shield. Bullet speed, which is a bullet with some lines going behind it. And then move speed, or just move, is similarly with a tank, but lines going behind it. Also, if you noticed, that re-roll was not simply luck. I updated the code so that the same upgrade will not show up in the same slot. So if I were to re-roll right now, armor could show up in one of these two spots, but it will not be in this spot again. If you saw in the previous video where I created the re-roll function, sometimes I could re-roll and it looked like something didn't change. This way, it always looks like every one of these slots will change, even if it's just moving one upgrade to another slot. It at least looks better, so the player doesn't feel like they're getting gypped, like something's not working right. So then why don't we go ahead and take a look at the code. Hey everybody, welcome to day 27 of the Rogue Tanks devlog. Right in here, we can see where I've added the upgrade sprites in the game object draw event with the upgrade switch. So this is the same spot where it has the draw, press R to reroll text that shows up, and where it draws the actual boxes for the upgrades. Down here, I had these conditions for if the revive showed up, it would check for a number of players. Right below that, I have draw images for upgrades. And this is just a switch for each upgrade, upgrade 1, upgrade 2, upgrade 3, and it draws the same sprites for each upgrade, but they are of course in different locations. The drawing location is different for each upgrade slot, so they've got to be in here 3 different times. Oh, another small update. Before I had it just display the room name, like this room name, just RM02 Desert. Now it'll just display the room number, +1 of course, because the starting room number is actually 0. So by saying room 1, it makes it easier for the player to keep track of how far they are. This way, at the start of every room, they can look and see what number room they're in. So when you press R or the gamepad button select, this part is still the same where it picks a new set of upgrades. Well, this part is still the same where it picks a new set of upgrades. But right here, I've got 3 new variables of previous 1, previous 2, previous 3. And they set themselves equal to upgrades 1, 2, and 3 when you press the reroll command. Then it picks new upgrades, 3 new upgrades. And right here, there's a while loop. So if upgrade 1 still equals previous 1, or upgrade 2 equals previous 2, or upgrade 3 equals previous 3, if any one of those upgrades are in the same slot after reshuffling, it simply reshuffles again. And it will keep doing this until it gets a set where all 3 upgrades are not the same as their previous one. And I'm not resetting the previous 3 variables to whatever the reroll is. That gets saved initially. As for the versus records, I pretty much started with the regular records screen and just copied it and then changed a bunch of the stuff. So I have the same kind of columns, but I have different rows. And those rows are all calculated differently. In the create event, we can see that I have new arrays. With the versus records, they can all start at 0. I have a single array for the number of matches each tank has been in, another single array for the number of wins they've got, and then a 2-dimensional array for the number of tanks each tank has destroyed. Now for organization, this makes sense. And then when saving, I again have to have 3 different lines. The way I could have made this into a single array, I could still have a 2-dimensional array. The first slot could simply be the matches, then the next 4 slots could be the number of tanks destroyed for each type of tank, and then the next slot after that could be their wins. But the reason I chose to split it out into 3 arrays really comes back to how it's drawn. Because I have the number of matches first, and then I calculate their use percentage. And the use percentage is their array value of matches divided by total matches, which was calculated up here, adding up the number of matches for each tank. Also, a quick little tip, if you want a percentage to display 0%, remember that you can't divide by 0, otherwise it'll throw up can't divide. It's not a real thing. But what I did to avoid that and keep it saying 0% is I have this plus 0001, basically just a small number. So if all of these array values are 0, I'm never dividing by 0, I'm dividing something by 0.0001. And the draw text function will just draw a 0 if it's near 0. You can extend that out with another draw text function to have extra decimal point places, but just using the regular draw text command, it'll round it up. I also have, of course, times 100 plus a percentage sign. As for making those upgrade sprites, I pretty much just took my existing bullet sprites and things. I did have to create the shield from scratch. I also moved it up so there's some space in the image itself just because it looked funny otherwise in the upgrade box. I needed it to be a little higher. But instead of changing the draw position, I want the draw position to be the same for each sprite to make it easier to just draw them all. So I just changed the sprite itself to be a little kind of offset on its own. And that is all of the progress I made today. If you have any questions about anything I specifically did, let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.